Good morning, I'm Nivareti Manu, and this is your morning news fix for Thursday, 29th of February. In this update, the Broadcasting Minister says the loss of plurality in the news media isn't an issue as Newshub prepares to shut its doors. Warner Brothers Discovery has announced the newsroom will close from July at the cost of up to 300 jobs. That includes dozens of high-profile presenters and journalists. Minister Melissa Lee says the way people engage with media has changed.
We're no longer sitting in front of the television box watching the news at 6 o'clock. People are consuming media more on their mobile phones, on their iPads, on digital platforms.
Parliament has repealed New Zealand's smoke-free law after a long night of debate. The smoke-free amendment bill passed just before midnight. The law would have banned the sale of tobacco to those born after 2009, heavily reduced the number of tobacco outlets and removed 95% of nicotine from cigarettes. Associate Health Minister Casey Costello told MPs the sad reality is the black market would hit Māori.
Exactly the point why we are wanting to ensure that there is the tools to enable those who are addicted to smoking to quit, and cutting off supply does not reduce demand.
This year is set to be harder than last year for many New Zealanders. The Reserve Bank has opted to keep the official cash rate unchanged at 5.5%, in line with most economists' expectations. It isn't expected to cut the OCR for a while, possibly not until the middle of next year. Westpac senior economist Kelly Eckholt told Mike Hosking some households will be finding it harder to pay their bills.
Unemployment rates at 4%, which is not particularly high by New Zealand standards. It'll get a bit tougher as we go through this year because we're probably heading towards 5%.
And more evidence of the tougher times. Infometric's latest monitoring of regional economies show high inflation and interest rates are constraining economic activity. Their information suggests economic activity in the final quarter of last year was down 0.2% per annum. An increase in reckless driving could be behind the spike in road deaths. New Zealand's had the worst January in half a decade, with 35 people dying in road accidents last month. Data from the previous 2 holiday periods show 70 to 80% of fatal crashes involve drunk or drug drivers or people not wearing seatbelts. Optimism around the future of the South Island's existing airports. Christchurch Airport has announced all future work on developing an airport in central Otago has been slowed, with significant co-investment needed. They had been exploring 800 hectares of land at Terrace, north of Cromwell. Queenstown Airport Chief Executive Glenn Sowry told Mike Hosking that common sense has prevailed.
There was a lot of discussion and talk about the capacity that did or did not exist at Queenstown Airport. The facts are that we do have a lot of capacity available.
In sport, the Breakers live to fight another day in the Australian Basketball League. They've moved into another sudden death playoff game after surviving 83-76 against the defending champion Kings in Sydney in the play-in qualifier. The Breakers now meet the Illawarra Hawks on Monday. Red Bull Racing Formula One team principal Christian Horner has been cleared of allegations into inappropriate behaviour by a female employee. World Rugby's confirmed this year's top-tier WXV tournament will be played in Canada in September and October. I'm Nivareti Manu. That's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at midday from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.